Welcome, everybody. My name is Ani Gellis. I am
Well,
with Live Baltimore. We are delighted to see you all here for our Demystifying the Pre-K enrollment process. This is, I believe, the third time that we have offered this, and there's always a lot of questions and new information. It can feel a little bit overwhelming sometimes. I know as a parent, I often feel that way, but I'm really happy that you guys are here with us and we're all learning alongside each other this evening. Just a little background on Live Baltimore. You may have seen our I Heart City Life branding around town. We are a nonprofit that seeks to attract and retain residents of Baltimore City. We've been around since the late 1990s, and we have a lot of homeownership resources as well as neighborhood resources, if that is something that is of interest to you. We also have resources specifically for families. So, whether that's schools, space, or support, we're here for you to encourage families to stay in Baltimore City and to feel supported there. So we have our own schools map, which you'll also see the city's schools website map. It looks rather similar. But in case you're not familiar, we have zone schools, charter schools, and private schools on this map. And some of them have profiles that you can click on, and they all should be linked through to the school website. And we also have this guide that you may have seen around town. Oh, it doesn't work so well with the blurred background. Never mind. It's called School Options for Your City Kid. And in that is a timeline that is a good starting place for figuring out, what time of year it is and, your kid's age, what you could be doing at that time. So today's presenter is Betsy Decker. I am delighted to have Betsy here to share all of her expertise with you all. Betsy has been with Baltimore City Schools for 17 years, including 8 as an educational associate in City Schools early learning programs, Birth to 5. Her primary focus is working with families across the city to encourage school readiness. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Betsy.
hello, everyone. As Ani mentioned, I'm Betsy Decker, an educational associate with early learning programs at Baltimore City Public Schools. And we have been so fortunate in the last couple of years to get to do this webinar alongside Live Baltimore and share this information with families as we get ready to enroll in pre-K and kindergarten. All right, we had some slides shared, but I don't know where they went. There it is. Okay. Our theme this year for pre-K and kindergarten enrollment is Leap into Learning. And that goes along with our new pre-K curriculum that we're just halfway through our second year. That curriculum is Frog Street. It's play-based. It's really fun. And it has a frog mascot. So here we are, leaping into learning. In Baltimore City, we have full day pre-K. It is free for all families, regardless of income or priority. Every student who attends Baltimore City Public Schools gets free breakfast and lunch every single day. Our pre-K class sizes are capped at 20 students. And our curriculum is play and exploration based. Our kids get their hands dirty and spend a lot of time playing and experimenting and learning to work together. So who can enroll in pre-K? Any child who lives in Baltimore City and will be 4 years old by September 1st, 2026 can enroll in City Schools pre-K. The enrollment process this year will start on February 16th and run all the way until April 17th. So we have a full couple of months to get enrolled. There's a pre-K and kindergarten application. You'll go to the same place for both of those. Tonight, we're going to mostly talk about pre-K, but I will throw in a little bit about kindergarten as well. Just a quick note before I start talking about all of this, that the process for charter schools is different. If you're interested in applying for a charter school, definitely still listen to all of this information, but you'll need to reach out to that charter school individually. Even those who have already had their kindergarten to fifth grade lotteries may not have done a pre-K lottery yet because they tried to follow the timelines for traditional pre-K, but you will need to reach out to find out the details about charters to the specific charter school. Um, so when our enrollment period opens for pre-K and kindergarten at traditional schools, you will go to baltimorecitysschools.org/SEMS, SEMS. And there you'll be able to fill out the application, upload the required documents. You'll select up to 3 schools that you'd like to attend in order of preference. So you'll list the one you'd like best first, then the next one, and then the third one, and then submit your application. To be clear, this is not an application to be admitted to pre-K, but rather an application for location. We have space for everyone who wants a seat in Baltimore City. However, because class sizes are capped at 20 and schools only have so much physical space to host pre-K classrooms, we can't guarantee that you'll be at a zone school or your top school for pre-K, but there is enough space for anyone who would like to attend. And we'll come back to that in a minute. Just as a note, last year, 90% of families got their first choice, and a few more got, their second and third. And those who didn't worked with a specialized enrollment specialist to find a school that would work for them. Okay. So from after applications are submitted by April 17th, from April 18th until mid-May, all applications will be checked for accuracy and completeness. And then every application will be run through an algorithm to place students in schools. That algorithm prioritizes priority 1, enrolled sibling, zone, and quadrant of the city. Students who have an enrolled sibling have a higher chance of getting into that school. Students who live in zone have a higher chance of getting into that school. So as you are selecting which schools to put on your application, just keep those things in mind. On May 18th, placement offers will be sent through the SEMS portal. So the same place where you applied, you'll get a notification via email, and then on that portal, you can log in and see where you've been offered a seat. From May 18th to May 22nd, so just 1 week, families can go in and accept or decline. Accepting a seat means that you will be enrolling at that school. Declining is declining a seat in Baltimore City Public Schools pre-K. If you do nothing, you miss it, you don't go in and accept, the system will automatically accept for you. We still recommend going in and looking at that acceptance letter because it gives you the next steps for what to do at the school level to complete your enrollment. There is no wait list at any school. And if somebody tells you that there is a wait list, they are incorrect. There is no wait list for pre-K. You apply, you get offered a seat, and you can accept or deny it. If you are applying at a charter school and you get a seat there and you've accepted it, but you've also gone through the SEMS process for a traditional school, please, please, please go in and decline any offer that you get for a traditional school so that we know that space is free for another student later on. Okay, so what happens if you miss that enrollment window? Of course, we prefer that you apply nice and early so that we can get to know you and your family over the summer. But if you miss it for some reason, there will be an opportunity to connect with the Office of Enrollment, Choice, and Transfer. These are their hours as they stand right now. We do have a pre-K enrollment specialist who works down in that office. Her name is Kia Monique Martin. You can see her email address there. That will be shared in the information that Ani sends out. You would connect with the specialist or somebody else in that office and have them help you find a school that works for you. Applying early does get you into that algorithm, And if you are applying late, then you miss out on any free seats that might be available, but we will find a spot for you. So when you are in that application, how do you know what schools to list? We recommend that you start with your zone school, and there are a few reasons for that. It's good to be a part of your school community where you live. It's where your kids will have friends and neighbors. It's also the school closest to your home, so that makes the commute easier. But we understand that there are reasons that you might want to be going elsewhere, a whole bunch of reasons. So if you are looking at your zoned school and you know there's only 20 seats and you are unlikely to get a seat there, you can use the school finder either on the Live Baltimore website or on the Baltimore City Public Schools website to look for schools around your neighborhood and around where you work. You can also visit pre-K open houses, which we will hopefully have published on the City Schools website in the coming weeks. You can look at school websites and you can check out their social media. Social media is a really good window into what's happening at the school level because many schools are hosting events and posting pictures or posting flyers about their food pantry, clothing pantry, how you can get involved as a volunteer or donate, how you can spend time supporting your neighborhood school, and how you can join the PTO. As you're looking for schools to list, please consider transportation, school start and end time. For pre-K, there is no transportation to school. There's not a bus service, so please make sure that you can get there. That, in fact, is true of most grade levels for most students. There is not a yellow bus service in Baltimore City for most people. So do consider whether you can actually get to that school and get there on time. And then think about those bell times because if it's a 9 o'clock start school, but you start work at 7:30, it's probably not going to work out. So just make sure that you can find a way to school on time every single day. Our Baltimore City School Finder, City Schools Finder, is on our schools page. You navigate to the Baltimore City Schools website at baltimorecityschools.org, and then click on the button that says Schools. It's red and it's right in the center at the top. When you get there, you click on schools, there will be a box on the side where you can type in your address to find your zoned school, and it will open a new window. There you'll be able to see where your zoned school is based on your address, but you can also zoom out to see all of the schools around you. So looking at the map on this slide, those are all of the schools in Baltimore City. Each color means something different. Some mean elementary, some mean elementary middle, some are high schools, some are charters, some are non-traditional. So as you look at schools, just make sure that you're looking at an age grouping that makes sense for your pre-K student and try to choose ones that are around where you live or where you work. So as you do apply for pre-K, you will need to update some information at the time of your application. And then there's other information that you'll need a little bit later on when you go to enroll. I'm going to talk about both now because some of the information that you need later, you'll need to start preparing or getting now. In the enrollment application online, you'll need to upload a series of documents. You can do that either from using PDFs that exist from bills or wherever else you're getting documents, or you can use a phone or camera to take a picture and upload that picture. If you're uploading a picture or scanning a document, please make sure that you get all four corners of the document and that everything is clear. If you are taking a picture or scanning a bill that came in the mail, please take it out of the envelope so that we can see everything that's on there. We need all of that information to determine the legitimacy of the document and to use them as proofs of address, proofs of income, etc. So in your application online, you will need proof of your student's identity and age. So that can be a birth certificate or other government issued document. You'll need proof of parent guardian identity. So your license, other photo ID of the adult enrolling the child. And the adult enrolling the child must be a parent or legal guardian. If you are bringing a birth certificate, please make sure that that person's name is on it or that you have other documentation proving that that is the parent or guardian of the child. You will also need two proofs of address. A proof of address can be anything with your name and address on it, like a utility bill, your deed to your house, mortgage statement, rental agreement. It can be your pay stub. It can be a tax bill, anything that has your name and address on it. A cell phone bill is not a proof of address. We can't use that one. I'm not sure why, but. And then you will also need a proof of income. For that, you can do 3 consecutive pay stubs. You can use your federal income tax return. You can use proof of unemployment, and then some lesser known, I guess, forms of proof of income are approval for WIC or medical assistance, an award letter for SNAP or for temporary cash assistance, or any other kind of money that is coming into your household to support you and your family. Um, there are very rare instances where either a family does not, like, truly does not have income or can't provide documentation of that income. And in that case, you will need to go to your school for support or directly to the Office of Enrollment Choice and Transfer, and they will help you find a workaround. But for most people, there's something that you can upload to document income. In the case that you are uploading something like approval for WIC, medical assistance, SNAP, or temporary cash assistance, those things will automatically qualify a family as priority one. If you can upload 2 things, that's better. But if you only have one of those things, just upload it twice. But in the instance that you are someone who will be uploading pay stubs, federal income tax return, all of those things, you do need to have multiples of those things. So like 3 consecutive pay stubs. Please make sure that you are uploading something into each of those sections so that your application can go through. So those are the things that you need at the time of your application. Later, once you have an offer and you're accepting a seat, you will get a letter that details what you need to bring to the school to complete your enrollment. You will need health records, including immunizations and physical exam from the last year. If your child has an individualized education program or IEP, an IFSP or 504 documents, you'll bring those at the time of enrollment. And then if you need to bring in proof of custody or guardianship, that's the time that you would bring that in to your school directly. I bring those up now because I know that scheduling doctor's appointments can really get out of hand. I think we're a couple months behind on my youngest. And you want to make sure that not only you have those well visits, but that you're up to date on all of your vaccines. If for some reason you're not able to get to those vaccines or physical examinations before the due date for those documents to school or before school begins, you can show that you have made an appointment with your provider to get those things done, and then your school will follow up with you and work with you to figure out what exactly you need before your child can join school. If a child is not up to date on their required vaccines by the state of Maryland, they will not be able to participate in school. There's more information on the Baltimore City Health Department website about that. Or you can look up Maryland's vaccine requirements for schools. But just make sure that you're getting that stuff done so it's not a runaround in the first couple months of school. Uh, Sorry, I'm gonna go back one one sec, honey. This is a big slide. So just to go back to income for a minute, the reason that we need income from every single person, regardless of what their income is because of how pre-K is funded. Pre-K is funded quite differently from other grade levels. It was created as an intervention and is not a mandatory grade level. And in order for Baltimore City Public Schools to receive funding for pre-K, we need to submit proof of income for all families to the state. This does a couple things for us. As you know, as you probably know, the blueprint legislation provides expanded funding for pre-K programs in Maryland, which is really great for city schools because we've been providing pre-K for free for everyone for years, and city schools has just been footing the bill. Now we will be reimbursed for more of that. Um, the funding structure provides different levels of reimbursement from the state for different levels of income. Lots of families think that their income won't qualify, but in the coming years, it will be expanding, and many families qualify now than ever before. Even more pre-K seats are going to be covered. So collecting income information from all families is required by the state, but it also helps the school system to plan effectively for the projected cost of future programs. Knowing about how many seats will be reimbursed versus how many will not helps city schools plan and budget for the following school year. We accept many, many, many forms of proof of income, some of which are listed on this slide, but there are so many more listed on the city schools website. And again, if you or someone you know is having trouble producing this documentation, reach out to the Enrollment Choice and Transfer Office. We welcome and encourage all families to enroll in pre-K at city schools. Now we can go to the next one. Thank you. So I mentioned earlier that to enroll in pre-K, children need to be 4 years old by September 1st of the school year. According to the state law, they need to be four before September 1, but there is a small window of exception for children with birthdays between September 2nd and September 30th. They can apply for a waiver to enter pre-K early if the family qualifies as priority one through income, special education services, experiencing homelessness, or learning English for the first time. And if the child demonstrates an educational need that warrants an extra year in pre-K. Now you might see that word extra is in capital letters because pre-K is an intervention year. Children who are coming to pre-K early using a waiver have to demonstrate an educational need that warrants 2 years in pre-K. So this is not an opportunity for children who are showing readiness prior to the required age to come to pre-K early. This is an intervention for students who need that extra year of school surrounded by academics, behavior models, language models, and just that extra boost to get them ready before they head to kindergarten when they're 5. A student who is admitted to pre-K early commits to 2 years in pre-K, and they will not be eligible for early admission to kindergarten the following year. If you feel that your child is ready for school but is not yet age eligible, we recommend that you enroll in a pre-K 3 program with one of the private providers or community-based providers. And I'll show you a little bit more about that in a bit. At the end of the pre-K 3 year, then you can apply to take the assessment for early admission to kindergarten. And we have a lot of options for pre-K 3 now with the expanded blueprint. Okay, next. So if you're not yet old enough for pre-K, but ready for school, there are a few options. One of them is through Baltimore City Public Schools. We have half-day 3-year-old programs. These are actually 10 schools that offer a half-day 3-year-old special education program. And the Let's Grow program, the name of our threes, enrolls 7 typical peers per class. These students are meant to be language and behavior models for students who are struggling with some of those skills. There are a few stipulations to being a typical peer in Let's Grow 3. On the city schools website, on the enrollment page, if you scroll way down, there's a button that says Let's Grow. You can go there to access the screener. There is a link. You'll fill out a quick survey with just a few questions about your child to determine if you are eligible for that half-day 3-year-old program. It is only 2.5 hours long. It is only at 10 schools, and you have to provide transportation. But if that's something that you can swing and you are able to bring your child every day and interested in that half-day program, it is a really nice, gentle way to get your child into school My own child did the program at Lakewood Elementary, and it was so wonderful. Such a good experience for her. We really highly recommend it if that's something that you're able to do for your 3-year-old. Another option now is that we are partnering with 20 community-based organizations that host public pre-K seats for 3 and 4-year-olds. These community-based organizations, some are childcare, some are Head Start, applied to the state to have pre-K classrooms in the same way that any public school would apply for classrooms for pre-K. They get the same funding and they meet the same requirements. MSDE approved these pre-K classrooms, but they are not a part of the local school system. The community-based providers can serve both 3 and 4-year-olds. They're a great option if a child is not yet 4 before September 1st. And families who earn less than 300% of the federal poverty level are eligible for these free programs. There also should soon be the sliding scale implemented, which means that if you make more than that 300% of the federal poverty level, you may be eligible for reduced tuition there based on this sliding scale. But I'm not sure when that's happening. So please check in with those community-based providers if that's something you're interested in. These also can be excellent choices for families who need a little bit more wraparound care with before and after care services. While these centers and Head Starts and home-based child cares offer the same 180 days of instruction and 6.5 hours of school day, they often also offer before school care and after school care, as well as care on days that school may be closed. So check in with those, see what's close to your home. This flyer will be pinned at the top of the Baltimore City Early Learning Facebook page. It is posted on our Instagram page. The list is also on the city schools website, way down at the bottom of the pre-K registration page, with some more descriptions and QR codes there to visit those providers. I believe Live Baltimore is also posting the list, and it is also posted on the website for the Fund for Educational Excellence. So a lot of places you can find it. Another option in Baltimore City for early care and education is Head Start. In Baltimore City, there are 4 sub-grantees for Head Start. Head Start serves 3 and 4-year-olds in families that qualify. Head Start, again, is a really good option for families who might need a little bit more wraparound services. It is also not a part of the school system, but is an important piece of the early childhood landscape in Baltimore City and a fabulous place for families to go if they aren't yet old enough for pre-K. You can find out more about Head Start by visiting the Baltimore City Head Start website. Just type that in Google. It will come up with this orange page that's big. And then when you scroll down, you can click on the other sub-grantees to go to their websites and find out their locations. There is also a Head Start location finder if you want to look for what's close to your home or work. Just type that in your internet search bar, Head Start location finder. And you can actually search nationwide for Head Starts. Obviously, we really just need the ones in Baltimore for us, but if you're looking elsewhere, that's where you can find those too. So, all children who are 4 by September 1st go to pre-K. All children who are 5 by September 1st must enroll in kindergarten. And to go to kindergarten, children must be 5 by September 1st. There's a small exception for children whose birthdays fall between September 2nd and October 15th to sit for an assessment for early admission to kindergarten. Again, this is not for students who enrolled in pre-K with the pre-K waiver. Those students will complete 2 years of pre-K before they can come to kindergarten. This is for students who may be a little bit more advanced and have that birthday between September 2nd and October 15th. To come to kindergarten, the child must score over 85% on an assessment that measures readiness for kindergarten and overall skills, knowledge, and behaviors. It also looks at social emotional readiness for school, because when students come to kindergarten, we want them to really thrive and not struggle. Kindergarten is quite different from what it used to be. It's very rigorous and doesn't involve as much play as it used to. And so when kids are coming early, we really want to make sure they're very, very ready for that challenge. The application period for the early admission assessment is the same as the application period for pre-K and kindergarten enrollment. It's February 16th to April 17th. You can find that application on the city schools website, same pre-K and K registration page. Applicants will be contacted with a test date after the application is received. While you are waiting for that application to process and for your child to take the assessment, we really strongly recommend that you enroll in pre-K. The assessment for early admission will take place at the end of June, and those decisions will come out in July. This is so that students get the benefit of the full year prior to taking that assessment, and so that we have assessors available and space available to do assessment. But June and July are well after the application period for pre-K. So during the pre-K application period from February 16th to April 17th, we really strongly recommend that you apply for that pre-K seat. That way, in the case that the child is not quite ready for kindergarten or the test doesn't show that they're ready for kindergarten, you will have that seat in pre-K and you don't have to worry about trying to scramble to find something at the last minute. If the child does demonstrate that readiness, it's really easy for us to just scoop them up in the student management system to kindergarten and place them there. And again, if not, then they have that seat in pre-K, which is super important because while we have enough seats across the city for all children who would like to come to pre-K, space at each school is limited. Okay. So let's say you have a child who will be 5 before September 1st, but you're feeling like that child is not quite ready yet. There's a whole bunch of reasons that that may be the case. Families can choose to delay kindergarten attendance by 1 year if you feel that your child is not yet academically, socially, or developmentally ready for school. The application for a level of maturity waiver is always available on the city schools website. It's available now and must be submitted via email per the instructions on the application. Families who are delaying kindergarten entrance may choose to enroll in pre-K in city schools or with one of the community-based providers. And those families must enroll in kindergarten the following year. If you are applying for the level of maturity waiver because of developmental concerns or a medical diagnosis, please submit a child find referral. The child find process will help your child to have access to the services and supports that they may need when they do enter school. And it can be a lengthy process. So the sooner that you're able to submit that referral and meet with the team, the better. And we will work with you to find the supports that your child needs to be ready to go. Okay, so now let's look at the application itself. I did not include the entire application here, so if you're finding that you're struggling with it when we do open and you need support, please feel free to reach out to your school, the Enrollment Choice and Transfer Office, or to any of the communications through Early Learning on our Facebook page or Instagram. When you message those, you get me, and I will do my best to answer any questions that you have. So when you first open up the SEMS Parent Portal homepage, you will have to set up an account. If you have recently enrolled a child through middle and high school choice, this is the same portal. You can use that same account. Or if you enrolled a child in pre-K or kindergarten in the last couple of years, again, it's the same system. You can use that same account. If you already have an account and you've forgotten your password, just go ahead and click Forgot Password, just like you do on any other website, and you can reset it there. If you're new to SEMS, you'll start by creating an account, and there's an arrow to the Create Account button right there. It's just like setting up an account for pretty much anything else, super easy. Once you get in and set up your account, you add your child, you'll get to a page where you can select 3 schools. Be sure to add them in your order of preference. Put the one that you like the best first, followed by the second choice, and then the third. I know this sounds really crazy, but every year We get people saying I got a choice that I didn't want, and it is the one that I listed first. And the algorithm can't tell that. So the school that you want the most, you need to put at the top, followed by the next, and then the third. Let me see. At the end of the application, once you have everything filled out and you've selected your schools, make sure that you review your information and then hit the submit button. Again, this sounds really silly, but every year we have families on offer day who are surprised to find that they don't have one. And they'll call in and find out that they never hit the submit button. Please make sure you hit submit. If it does happen to you that you didn't hit the button, life happens. There's little 4-year-olds running around. Don't despair. We will find a pre-K spot for you, but it may not be in the top choice that you had since the algorithm will have filled many seats. We will always work with you to find a seat that works for you and your family, but to get the best chance at the seat that you would like, please make sure that you are submitting this application during the application window, that your information is correct, that you're listing your schools in order of preference, and that you click the submit button. After submitting, you'll be able to see on the home page that the application status is submitted. Check, check, triple check that you've submitted. You'll also be able to edit, delete, or print all the way up until the application deadline. You may want to print your submission receipt for your own records and to assure yourself that you did, in fact, hit the submit button. I know that's what I did when I enrolled my child in pre-K. I clicked submit and then screenshotted it and then also printed the letter. You want to be really sure. On May 18th, offers for pre-K seats will be released to families on the SEMS portal. In the past, families have gotten an email letting you know that there's something there, but whether you get an email or not, your offer will be listed on the SEMS portal and you can log in there. If you log in prior to that date, there will not be something there. And if there is, it's not necessarily the offer. Sometimes the system is just working out, what's happening. But on May 18th, there will be an offer released and you'll be able to see it in your SEMS portal. When you go in, you will be able to accept or decline. You need to accept or decline by May 22nd. And if no action is taken, the system will default to accept. Again, here, I just want to say that if you apply for traditional schools and charters and you decide to accept that charter spot, please come in and press decline for your traditional school application so that we know that spot is available for another family. Okay. That is all of the information I have in this presentation. As you are looking for, reminders, dates, events that are coming up, please follow Great Futures Start Early on Instagram and Baltimore City Early Learning on Facebook. As a bonus, during snow days, my children and I post videos of what is happening in pre-K, so you'll get to see a little preview of pre-K if you log on and look at that. And otherwise, it will likely just answer some questions that you have to be following those two accounts. So now let's have some questions.
Forgot to unmute it there. All right.
I also
So,
can never find the unmute button.
That's hard. It's hard. All right. So some of you submitted questions in advance. So I'm going to read a couple of these first. One is you mentioned a little bit about the 90% of families last year got their number one choice, but a lot of families are curious about the likelihood of getting into their zoned school. Could you speak to that a little?
So overall, most families do get into their zone school. There are a few exceptions to that in places where there just are a lot of families and not enough physical space for us to have more pre-K classrooms. If we're looking at like Hamden, Roland Park, Thomas Johnson, Medfield, those schools get a lot of applications and many families do get in. But if Roland Park gets 200 applications, there are still only 20 seats. So if you're in an area that you know is super populated with young families, definitely, um, temper your expectations for those schools and choose a few others that you will also love. Um, but overall, yes, typically families do get their first choice and do get into their zone school.
And do you know, last year, the part of the enrollment guide was a list of how many classrooms are at each school. Do you know if that's coming out again this year?
Yes, I'm pretty sure that we just submitted that list to our communications team today.
Oh,
Um,
great.
Overall, most of those schools are pretty much the same. There's just a couple shifts, with closures and expansions. So do look to see, but overall, they're going to be the same.
And a related note, how many seats does Baltimore have across the city for 4-year-olds?
So many. Um, I think that this year we were at 3,800 seats. And depending on demand and population, that, changes from year to year. Um, we used to have a lot more general education seats, but as there's been more demand for special education preschool classrooms, we've shifted some of those. So it might look like the number went down. It really is just a shift to serve our population better. Right now, I believe we're around 3,800.
All right. A couple of other questions. Does it help to apply early, or is any time in that period the same?
No. When we say early, yes, in that you should definitely apply during that online application window. That is going to be your very best chance at getting the school that you want, the school where your older sibling attends, all of that. But applying earlier in that window doesn't make a difference. We're just compiling applications all the way up until that deadline, and then all of them will go through the algorithm at the same time.
Great.
Mhm.
All right. Another question. If someone has twins, how difficult is it to have them in the same school? Or is there any other advice you have in that situation?
It really is going to be school dependent, like I said, on those high flyer applications. But there is a sibling preference. So part of the algorithm is siblings, and even though they're both enrolling at the same time, because they're both going through that same SEMS system, they will count as a sibling. Um, in most circumstances, they're going to be placed in the same school as long as you have listed those same schools in order of preference. If for some reason it comes out that they do not, just call enrollment choice and transfer, and that will get sorted out. That is absolutely going to be a high priority. We will not have you chasing all over the city to drop your twins off.
Great. All right. We're just going to go rapid fire here. They're not necessarily grouped thematically, but that's okay. If the school system offers all 20 spots at a given school and 5 people decline, how do those get filled since there's no wait list?
Mhm. So it's gonna depend on the school again. In some circumstances, the students who applied will get called and offered those spots if it was, your first choice and you ended up at your second choice school. Um, in other circumstances, depending on the number of people who applied in that online round, those spaces will be left open for students who come and apply later. That's not saying that somebody who applied earlier is going to get replaced by somebody who came later. It just depends on the number of applicants that they got in that online enrollment window. If you did not get your first choice and you are interested in that school, and maybe you heard that somebody dropped out, call enrollment choice and transfer. The school does not have the authority to just be placing students after that enrollment window until we are open for open enrollment in the summer for a few people who missed the window or moved or what have you. So if you did not get your first choice and then you know that somebody declined their offer, call enrollment choice and transfer to try to figure that out. Mhm.
What proof of income can a self-employed person present?
You can do your tax forms. What you submitted last year for taxes should be fine because we have this later enrollment window. You can also submit any receipt that shows like how you pay yourself. Um, and if you are struggling to find something that qualifies to upload something. All of our documents are reviewed by hand by our enrollment office before they go through the algorithm. So if it comes up that something that you submitted isn't able to be read or doesn't count or is from 8 years ago, they will call you and they will help you find a document that will work. And in the case of being self-employed, I'm sure that they can help you to find documents.
And I think you already touched on this, but could you reiterate why proof of income is required for pre-K?
Okay, yes, I can. So, in pre-K, all of the seats are funded differently from the rest of grade levels. The state supplies some funding. For families who make under 300% of the federal poverty level, those seats are fully reimbursed. For families who make above that amount, city schools foots the bill. And as the blueprint legislation dictated funding expands, city schools gets more money for those seats. It's important to get income information from every family so that the state can track like the level of need, the level of enrollment, and so that city schools can plan for budgeting purposes for the following year and also get reimbursed appropriately for every kiddo that comes through.
Great. And I did, in case anyone is curious, I looked up the 300% of the federal poverty limit for 2026 for Maryland. And for a household of two people, that would be 64,920 as your household income. For three people, that would be 81,960. For four, a family of four would be 99,000. And for five, it would be 116,040. So you can, if you just Google 2026 federal poverty limit, I think there's like a whole chart online.
Mhm.
All right, another income question. Do we need proof of income for both parents or yeah, is it by household, by parent? Is it three pay stubs per parent? So six total?
It is household income. So take that how you will. Um, and when you go to upload, I believe there are three spaces for uploading income. So upload what you can, and then if there is discrepancy around it, then enrollment choice and transfer will reach out to you.
Great.
Mhm.
Can you talk about pre-K application process for a neighborhood conversion charter school? Um, since they're a little bit different than a citywide charter, would they rank them as one of their top three in the SEMS application?
I have no idea. That is a new
So
question to me.
I think
Um,
so. Some schools like Govans was the example
yeah.
here that that the neighborhood, the location does factor in,
Yes.
but that's
So
different than a regular
from a
charter for
charter
every
school.
for everyone's reference. There's like a couple of kinds of charter schools.
Yeah. Yes. So my like uh overarching answer for that is call the charter. Regardless of what kind of charter it is, call and just find out if they are following the traditional application method or if they are accepting applications in a different way. This way you're not missing anything, and you should call like tomorrow. Well, maybe not tomorrow with the snow and ice. You should call on Monday.
I
Because
believe the deadline is Monday
I was going to
to
say
apply for a charter.
some of their deadlines are a little bit different. But if you're well, I was going to say you can just look at the SEMS application and see if they're in the drop-down menu, but for most charter schools, you're going to miss the application deadline for that. So give them a call. Essential employees will probably be in tomorrow, which includes the school secretary in most places. So um, call and find out tomorrow or Monday.
Mhm. Great.
Yep.
All right. What happens if you don't provide all the documentation for enrollment? What is the purpose of the financial information if it's free for everyone?
We went over that the income
Mhm.
information a little bit. If you have more questions about that individually, please feel free to shoot me a message on the Facebook or Instagram pages, and I'll do my best to connect you with that information. But the purpose that was the purpose of any documentation.
The financial documentation, but the question is, what happens if you don't provide the documentation for enrollment?
So if there are spaces that don't have anything uploaded in them, the application won't go forward. It stops you like any required field in a form. But if you upload something that doesn't fit within the parameters, then the Office of Enrollment Choice and Transfer will contact you to update those documents before your application will be processed.
Right?
Mhm.
Is it true that if you don't enroll in your neighborhood school's pre-K, that you cannot go there for kindergarten?
No. You, with very few exceptions, for like over enrollment or I don't even know, space issues, most families or pretty much all students can go to their zone school for kindergarten. There's no cap on the kindergarten size, so they can accept many more students. You can choose where to go for pre-K because there is that cap and because space is limited, and we know that it's not available in everybody's zone school. Once you are in pre-K at a school, you could stay for kindergarten and beyond. But if you go to pre-K someplace else, when it comes time to go to kindergarten, you just complete this application again to get placed in your zone school, or you can transfer.
Great. How do you find out the bell schedule for a school?
Oh, that's an easy one. Just go on the Baltimore City Public Schools website, click on that schools button up at the top. It's bright red or orange in the middle. And type in the name of your school. It will open up a page that has all kinds of information about your school. And on the right side of the page, underneath the school administrator name, it will have their bell schedule. If it's not right there for some reason, because sometimes things just get wonky on our website, you can click on the web page for the school and it will have every bit of information you could want to know about the school through their school webpage.
Great. So the applications don't open until February 16th, but can families begin collecting and uploading the documents before then, or can they not create an account
So
until?
you can create an account now. I'm not sure that you can upload documents yet, but you definitely can go in and put in your student information, your home information, and if you have any other kids who are already enrolled in city schools, you can connect those siblings in SEMS right now. In terms of uploading information, I'm actually not sure if the system will take them yet, but you should definitely start collecting that information if you have it available to you.
Great. That's a good pro tip. All right. If one person is filling out the form, but their partner is the one with the pay stub application, is that okay?
Mhm. Yep.
All right.
You can put it in. The only thing I'll say about you know, different partners filling out applications is if one person is the like primary parent or guardian listed on another child's account, that same person is going to want to be the one to fill out the application and enroll for the child coming in this year. That just makes it easier for the system to identify a household and link those siblings based on address and guardian.
Okay. All right. Trying to answer one here. All right. So there's some confusion about delaying kindergarten. If a child will be turning 4 and they want him to wait until he's 6 to go to kindergarten, could you refresh our memory on how that would work?
Turning 4, like will be 4 before September 1st this year. Let's go with
Um,
that. Will be 4
yeah.
for this year. Okay. So that child can go to pre-K this year if you want them to. And then at the end of this pre-K year, before kindergarten begins next year, so before the first day of school the following year, you would submit that level of maturity waiver and then they can do pre-K again.
Great. Okay. Um, and let's see. Is a license a valid proof of address? A driver's license?
Hmm. I remember asking this when I enrolled my own child, and I don't remember the answer. I don't think it is. I think you need like a more current piece of mail because it has to have the date on it and it has to be within the last 60 days. So I don't think that a license counts. Uh, but if you don't have anything else, upload that and Enrollment Choice and Transfer will contact you for something else if they need it.
Great,
Mhm.
great. Um, all right. There isn't a wait list. If we don't get into our first choice, is the door closed or is there a chance of getting in after that initial round of accepting or declining?
It really, most people, they take their acceptance, especially at those like high flyer schools that fill up really fast. The likelihood of somebody declining there is really, really low, to be honest. But are, if you are in the circumstance where you did not get that first choice school, um, you are always welcome to check in with Enrollment Choice and Transfer around the time that they start accepting open applications in the summer for those who either missed the window or, have just moved. Um, I wouldn't put your eggs in that basket, but I also wouldn't say that the door is entirely closed.
All right. Unfortunately, you all have a lot of questions, but we are coming up on time and I want to respect everyone's time. But I will go ahead and share the Live Baltimore email. It's schools@livebaltimore.com. Happy to answer a lot of these follow-up questions. I'm pretty sure Zoom will send me these. I can try to follow up that way. But definitely reach out via email. Check the City Schools pre-K enrollment page. There's a whole lot of information, especially the documentation questions, the really specifics. They're all listed there. I also wanted to mention that you won't get the slides emailed, but you will get this recording emailed to you, and it will also be on YouTube. And you'll also get the link to a survey. So if you have questions or other feedback for us for improving for next year, we would love to hear it. Betsy, thank you so much. We really appreciate all of your time and energy. And thanks to all of you families for tuning in this evening for another lively discussion about pre-K enrollment. We'll be cheering you on and hopefully we'll be in touch if you have any other questions.